And for more now, I want to bring in Jamal Brown. He's a national press secretary for the Biden campaign. Jamal, welcome. Great to have you with us. So how is Joe Biden and the campaign feeling about his chances going into tonight?
Well, thank you so very much, and happy Election Day. This day has been a long time coming for our entire campaign. And the VP is feeling confident. He's feeling great. He spent the last a few days barnstorming states across the country, key battleground states, meeting with voters, directly hearing their stories, and really speaking to them about how he's going to bring this country forward over the next 4 years. He visited his childhood home in Scranton this morning. He's then in Philadelphia, here where I'm located. And so, as a campaign, we are feeling great. We are coming into today with significant enthusiasm across the board. As you know, more than 100 million people have voted before Election Day. Overwhelming enthusiasm for Joe Biden and Senator Harris. So we're feeling great. We're feeling really confident, looking forward to tonight as well.
But it's true, Biden is leading in the polls. There was another narrative, though, that played out in 2016. Hillary Clinton was also leading in the polls. Trump was able to win. So is there any concern in the campaign that there could be a repeat of 2016 tonight?
Sure. Well, I think, we're confident, but we're not arrogant. That was 4 years ago. Secretary Clinton, poured her heart out into that race. And won by barely 3 million votes. And so, we took the lessons learned from that, from 2016 to create a stronger and expanded path. And we do have an expanded map. We have multiple pathways to victory tonight. And we're seeing that come to fruition. In states like North Carolina, we've had over 20%. We saw a 20% increase in youth turnout in early voting over this past weekend. And in places like Georgia, we saw an increase, a 67% increase from African Americans. And so, in terms of tonight, we are certainly confident, but again, we're not arrogant. And we're not taking a single vote for granted.
Good way of putting it. As you realize, President Trump has said that he plans to declare victory tonight if it looks like he's ahead. I mean, he looks like he's walked back from that statement a little bit this morning on Fox and Friends, but still, that statement is out there. So, how does Joe Biden's camp plan to respond if that happens?
Certainly. There is no amount of rhetoric that is going to stop the will of the American people from having their voices heard. Again, over 100 million people have voted, and we're seeing millions more lined up at the polls today. We expect, record turnout as well, and generate, more record turnout than in generations past. But, we are ensuring that voters know that today is the day to vote, and today is the last day to make their voices heard. We have our voter protection team is equipped to ensure that voters have the necessary information, but it's also incumbent upon frankly the media to ensure that they are not amplifying Trump's misinformation. We know what his games are. We know what he's been up to over the last 4 years, lying, spewing mistruth. So it's incumbent upon all of us, really, to ensure that Americans have the right and accurate information tonight. And again, we are, rolling into today, so to speak, confident, with record turnout and enthusiasm. And we expect that to ride through tonight. And we do expect that in some states, as it has been in past elections, that votes will still be tallied. And I will say, to the Americans that are watching, if you are in line before the polls close, they cannot turn you away. Stay in line and make sure that your vote is cast.
Good advice. If you're in line, they have to keep the polls open until everybody gets their vote cast. It's so true. All right. So I want to ask you about some key states, though, that everyone is watching. Now that we're at the 11th hour, so to speak, what are your thoughts about Pennsylvania and Florida?
Certainly. I'm right here in Philadelphia, right around the corner where our headquarters are. And every day, I go outside for my morning runs, and I see people lined up here at City Hall starting at 7:30, well before polls have opened up at 8 a.m. And it was the same thing this morning. And so I think, across the state, we are seeing record turnout. Of course, there are Republican attempts to disenfranchise voters, to suppress the vote, court cases that were thrown out. And we, are seeing enthusiasm across the board. We have again, come into both Pennsylvania and Florida with an edge. We're seeing turnout in Florida. We know that, in Florida and Pennsylvania and in Texas, key battleground states, it's going to be tight. This will be a close race, but again, we are coming into this with a lead and confident that all voices will be heard, and we'll be looking at Joe Biden as the next president.
All right. Well, Jamal Brown, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much again.